Yo, 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 yo. What up, guys? So today we're gonna talk about um a few things. Well, let me start this off. So I usually do like podcasts and shit like that, but sometimes I do videos too. Um, a lot. Oh shit. Excuse me. A lot of times when I do these videos, fucking these shit just cause a little mass hysteria. But it's not going to be a podcast. So I'm going to do a little video today, but I'm going to talk about something that I think we all need to know about. Um, Still kind of piggybacking off my homie Hamad. Hamad did a video last week, I think, and he kind of piggybacked off of my videos I did. But oh fuck, this one's not gonna be. I hope it's not gonna be bad. Like sometimes my videos can be offensive, but I think just the way I talk and some of the words I use and how I wouldn't say aggressive, but I'm passionate about this shit, and I think we need to know some some things about it that in my opinion have been hurting us, and maybe if we learn a little bit about it, we can not be so hurt when we come up against some of this stuff. So let's talk about it. Look at my hat that says release the Snyder cut, right? So what is that? The Snyder cut. Everybody watching this knows what the Snyder cut is. They should know what the Snyder cut is, and if you don't, just stop watching it and go find something else to do. But the Snyder cut, right? The Snyder cut has grown into a movement, a huge movement. Like we've already got mainstream media recognition. We're all over underground internet. We're all over, all social media platforms pretty much. But, oh, fuck. Well, I keep yawning. I don't know. But let's say, so the Snyder Cut, long story short, Zack Snyder had some issues with people he worked with, right? And they kind of took advantage of a personal situation he had in his household that he had to, look after, and they took advantage of that, and they, you know, seized an opportunity which made them his, I guess, enemies. Enemies. I'm just gonna say, for lack of a better word, his enemies um, took advantage of that situation and did what they wanted to do without him being there. Now, that spawned into a group. That spawned into like a lot of people, Zack Snyder's fans online. Basically fighting for him to be able to release his cut of the Justice League. Basically fighting also for David Ayer to be able to release his cut of Suicide Squad. But what we were looking at is a corporation, Warner Brothers, completely trying to go opposite of what they have promised all of their fans over the past, you know, 2013, 14, 15, 16, about, 6 years. Well, it happened in 17, so let's say they promised us, we're going to go for a while. They promised us this shit was going to go down for a minute. So, Zack Snyder, when he makes movies, he does it in a way that is kind of more grown up. There was a comic book movie industry is going well right now. I guess they're making $1 billion movies. Oh fuck! Tired, bro. But they're doing, like, if you notice, Disney and Marvel are putting out a bunch of movies that's kind of like kiddie type movies, and that's good. I guess that's the lane that they found, and that's a cool lane for them to make money off of and do what they got to do. But Zack Snyder was doing something different. He was making more of like a grown-up film, but using superheroes also. His first movie, Man of Steel, was It was amazing. But what he did is he showed, regular life, real life struggles that a lot of us go through that he even gave Superman, bouncing from job to job, you know, living life, not being able to be who you want to be or not even knowing who you want to be. A lot of stuff, but whatever. Long story short, we come up to Batman versus Superman and we started seeing, you know, a lot of the media started going negative against Zack Snyder. And it was like, from my perspective, of a fan's perspective, it was seeming like it was just retarded. Like, what is Rotten Tomatoes talking about? How could you not like Batman vs Superman? How could you not like these movies? And then it was like just people just started piling on. John Campea was pushing a big narrative of how much he would act like he liked Zack Snyder, but then he would push some narrative that was just hurting Zack Snyder. He was pushing a narrative that was kind of anti-Zack Snyder, and a lot of people was. But a lot of people was piling on. At the time, it was mainly like John Campea and like a bunch of. Let me get through this. I'm keep yawning my ass off, but we're gonna make it through, guys, because we're not a quitter. So, at the time, it was like a lot of Marvel fans pretty much shitting on Zack Snyder. And there was a movement that kind of started trying to protect Zack Snyder from these Marvel fans and from these crazy narratives that was going on in like the industry. Crazy narratives going on online, crazy narratives going on in all the trades, publications, and stuff like that. So while this crew started getting together, and it was like TPZ, which is Team Prozac, a bunch of the fellas there. Fiona came and Fiona kind of started it. Fiona came and she made a change.org, like a little link or site or whatever, but it was like release the Snyder Cut. So this change.org movement started building like huge. There was become the Spartans come up. Then there was a lot of other people. Then it was like these people would go out and just want to defend the narrative or defend the character of Zack Snyder, because he was getting a lot of bullshit online, and a lot of people didn't know what was happening, but they were down to defend him regardless. So now we move to another stage where we're at now. We've kind of defeated all the Marvel people. We defeated all the, like Campea and all the people that was going against us from the outside. But I think on this level right now, we're having trouble because we don't know the people against us from the inside. And that's where we're at right now. And that's what, a lot of people talking about, oh, it's like a civil war and release the Snyder Cut fandom and blah, blah, blah. It's not a civil war. What we're doing, what we are addressing, you have to address because it's the most dangerous. It's called counterintelligence. It's the wolves in sheep's clothing. The people who act like they're one of you. They act like they're cool with you, and they act like they are a part of the movement and blah, blah, blah. They love Zack Snyder. But at every moment, you see them being negative towards the movement, negative towards your narratives that you're trying to push, negative towards Zack Snyder in general, and that's what we're facing right now. And this is the most painful for people to understand because they thought a lot of these people were cool with us. And they're like, hey, why are we infighting? Don't infight. You have to all come together. But no, that's the worst thing because these people, counterintelligence agents, they hide behind coming together. They hide behind unity. And they're like, hey, guys, don't shoot me. We're one of you. We've been doing this and that and this and that forever. We wouldn't do anything that Zach doesn't like. We wouldn't go against Zach. Look at all the stuff we did, and that's all fake because they're wolves in sheep's clothing, and that's what we're dealing with lately. And you probably saw me. I'm always frontlining shit. I'm always out. When I see some shit, I address it. I'm not the type that kind of goes in these chat rooms and talks about it forever and never really addresses it. But so when you see this shit right now, we call counterintelligence, you have to know what counterintelligence is. Counterintelligence is, let's say Zack Snyder circles 214 on somebody's poster, right? 214, we were wondering what is 214, but now we come and we find out that 214 was the runtime of the Snyder Cut, the Justice League. But what happens? What is counterintelligence? Where someone takes that intelligence of 214, that's intelligence straight from Zack Snyder himself, and they counter it, they flip it, and they come with 165. And then they say, we found this could be the runtime, and maybe if we agree to this runtime, we can get Warner Brothers to drop the movie. But you drop a movie that's shorter than the runtime of the one that Zack Snyder intends to drop. So what that does is that counters the movement. We can't go for 214. We can't go for, we can't really get behind the agenda and push this. The Snyder Cut is 214. Why? Because someone just countered our intelligence. Someone just countered it and dropped the 165. Or they counter it, like say Zack Snyder says, or someone's, anybody, Jay Oliva, whoever that's pro Zack Snyder, and we know it is pro Zack Snyder. They say, the movie's only, 95% done. And they say that maybe 12 months ago. 95% done. So the people inside the crew that don't want us to progress on this 95% done narrative, they will counter it and say, Zack Snyder only shares pictures in black and white because it's really not done and there's a lot of work to do. So while we're walking this path, we're trying to pump 95% done, and somebody over here with 30,000 subscribers, Dave the Film Junkie, says, no, but Zach only shows pictures in black and white because it's probably not done. But he slips that in the middle of a full 5 minutes of being pro Zack Snyder. He slips that little sneaky narrative in, and then we're like, hey, what did Dave the Film Junkie just say? Or, whoever. And I'm not shooting at Dave the Film Junkie. I do enough of that. But what I'm saying is, this is how the shit works. So every narrative, notice, I know y'all noticed the pattern. Every time we go and do something positive, or we're high flying, we're feeling great, there's a crew of people in our group, in our movement, that comes and counters it every single time. It's like a pattern. I mean, if you can't see the pattern right now, you should be able to see the pattern. It is very visible and very obvious. So now most people are coming to see this pattern, right? Now most people are coming to see who this is doing this constantly countering our intelligence. Even if it's intelligence from Zack Snyder, Clay, Jay Oliva, whoever, especially Zack Snyder. They'll say, Zack Snyder, there'll be a million interpretations on what he said, or a million different interpretations on what he likes, or anything like that. Because what they want to do, Zack Snyder will come in and he'll like somebody's picture or post, basically approving their intelligence, and you can count like on a clock. It comes like rain in Orlando. It comes every day. You can count it. Every single time someone will come with the podcast or video and be like, maybe Zack Snyder meant this. Maybe Zack Snyder meant that. But what that does is it takes your movement and it confuses your movement. Your whole movement is thinking, I saw Zack Snyder just say this, but then I saw Dave the Film Junkie or Garza or somebody say this. So then now we're all confused. We can't move forward because we're constantly being countered. We're constantly being confused. And that is what's going on right now. But there's a deeper level to this counterintelligence shit. There are people in these chat rooms that we're all in, and all, there's people who's playing both sides. There's people who's talking to one side over here, and it shouldn't even be two sides. We should all be pumping the Snyder Cut agenda, but we're not all pumping the Snyder Cut agenda. That should be obvious right now. So there's two sides, just like Hamad said when, people were dissing Fiona for saying she wanted to start a nonprofit organization. And he was like, yo, there's something weird about this movement. There definitely is something weird about this movement. There's two sides. There's people who just want the video, the movie, and they're willing to do whatever Zack Snyder says do so we can get this movie. And then there's these people who look like they're making their own little career off of the Snyder Cut movement with, podcasts, articles, websites, all this other shit. They're making their own career, and they come into the movement of people loyal to Zack Snyder, and they come and they tell you in a different interpretation, and they confuse you even after what Zack Snyder just said. So while you're confused, you're not moving forward. What you're doing is actually standing in place. But also, when you stand in place, you go back into these chat rooms, you're looking for clarification. We go into these chat rooms and we talk to a lot of different people. Spartans, exiles, parademons, a lot of different people. But there's also people in the chat rooms, when we go back and we're confused and we want to talk to somebody about it and we want to look for clarification, there's also people in the chat rooms that confuse you even more. You don't see this because you think these are your friends and you don't understand what's really going on. So we have a movement that's so big right now. Anybody that says it's small is not really telling the truth. It's probably not the size of Star Wars big, but it's pretty big. We're getting national attention. We're getting mainstream media attention. We're actually pushing the envelope and making shit happen. So anytime you do that, you got to know that there's someone inside of that movement that wants to take the screws off the tires, bleed all the brake fluid out of your car so you don't have any brakes. Just there's somebody sabotaging that at all times. So you have to be able to first be aware of this shit, but you also have to be able to speak, because the way you counter intelligence is like you triple cross. They're double crossing you, but you can triple cross them. So now you have to know, all right, who didn't let's go all the way back to the beginning. Who didn't like Zack Snyder from the beginning, or who had issues? And we all know as Jeff Johns. Probably even more people, but we're focusing on Jeff Johns. So now you see, all right, Zack Snyder kind of controls his little army through Vero, right? He puts his intelligence on Vero. Then there's another army on Twitter, which is totally different than Vero. There's another army on Twitter, and they try to act like they're cool with the Vero people, but they're not cool with the Vero people. That's the split. Vero versus Twitter. That is the split. So who was the original beefs? Zack Snyder, Jeff Johns. That has never and this is my opinion. It's never changed. Zack Snyder has his following on Vero. Jeff Johns has his following on Twitter. You see the Vero following. The people who love Zack Snyder are always cool. Always calm, cool, relaxed, whatever. They don't want no beef. They don't want no trouble. They don't want nothing. Then you go on Vero, and these people want war. They want battling. They want to talk shit. They want to do everything to throw you off of your peace, off of your center. And they do it. This is what they do. When you go to Vero, because Vero don't have as many views or followers or clicks as Twitter. So when you take this intelligence and you want to build it and you take it to another platform, especially Twitter, it's always countered. Watch this shit. But who could be doing this? Watch these guys who have these sources who never confirm who their source is or never confirm what's going on. In my opinion, I think Jeff Johns is their source. I think this battle is Twitter versus Vero, Jeff Johns versus Zack Snyder still. And it's intelligence versus counterintelligence. Still, in my opinion, this is what's going on. And I don't think we will be right, and I don't think we will go forward until this is recognized. So you might look at me like, damn, Peely, you always, going after people or this, that, or other. But no, it's not that. We can't move forward until our house is clean. We can't drive in our car until that bitch is fixed and works properly. We are not working properly right now because we're dealing with people who's countering us at every level. No matter how much we call them out, they're not going to stop. No matter how much we show proof, they're not going to stop. And there's still so much more proof that we got, but we haven't showed it because we're trying to learn how to mold it without it pissing Zack Snyder off. So we are getting to a point where it's being obvious to everybody, but what I want to let you know to be more aware of, be even more aware of, while we're understanding and we're finally seeing this 40 Club and what they do, please understand that there's more 40 Club members in your crew at the moment. Watching this video at the moment. Gonna like this video and act like they're cool with me at the moment. But nah, watch them. Watch this shit. If we want the Snyder Cut movement to work properly, not only do we have to defend it from the people on the outside, we have to defend it from the people on the inside, both foreign and domestic. It's just how it goes. This is my point. This is what we're going to be hammering. Me and my homie Jeff is going to kind of put together more information to show you. But counterintelligence is what we're dealing with. We are dealing with wolves in sheep's clothing, and they will not stop. They will not stop until we really expose them. But what we need to expose is more than just the 40 Club. What we need to expose are the people right now watching this video that's gonna give me dap and props and act like they're cool with me and go right back to these 40 Club members and these unnamed sources and all these bullshit that really is anti-Zack and really is anti the narratives that Zack puts out. These people are playing both sides. I'm not playing both sides. I will never do that. I will never switch. I will never sell out. I will never play both sides against my homies because loyalty and camaraderie is tougher and deeper than all of this shit. So that's my point today. We can expound on it more in further videos. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comment section. If you don't have any questions, just throw a thumbs up and be like, yeah, you're right, dog. I like this shit. If you really like it, like that bitch on YouTube, share that shit with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Why? Because I'm not a bitch. You bitch.